Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Sam, how you doing?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Nice, nice.
How are you?
Pretty good. You look like you're in a J.J. Abrams movie because there's so much lens flare on your screen right now.
I know. Listeners, I changed my setup and now the wall sconces in my bedroom are like blaring directly, right into the camera. Also, I have the overhead light on because otherwise it'd be too dark and then I'd fall asleep.
And I look like I'm in Storage Wars because there's so much stuff thrown around my room.
Dang. And I'm on set of 2009's Star Trek, the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. So, I just saw the trailer for Kandahar, starring Gerard Butler and a very bored-looking Travis Fimmel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
It's just another action movie, but I'm watching it, and you know what? I'm really digging Gerard Butler's career right now. Because, he was like a big deal for a while, and then he kind of vanished. And then he came back just to do like exclusively action films,
Yeah.
He'll do like the big budget, like the Olympus series, and then like Greenland. But then he'll do like a bunch of like lower budget ones. And I'm like, dude, this guy's just like, is he the best action star? No. Is he the most iconic right now? No. But it seems like he's enjoying himself. Like, I like this body of work he's creating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems solid. It's it's like a
He's
step
always
above,
working.
like, it's like a step above, like the DTV, sort of
he
like
hasn't, as far as I know, he hasn't had to like fall back to that. Like, but yeah, like all his movies are like above that, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Yeah, I like that career. That's awesome. Well, as of recording this, Star Trek Picard final season airs tomorrow. I'm excited.
Oh, jeez.
So I will have some comprehensive notes. Not really, because I don't want to give any spoilers.
Yeah, and
you're nowhere near caught up. So
no, I'm still in season 2.
Yeah, we kind of talked about Vox Machina on the other podcast, but we had been talking about it here. So let's just do like a quick little summary of like how you felt this season was.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think it was great. I really don't want to like compare seasons because we didn't talk about that in the other podcast. But like I just just browsing through Twitter saw some people, they're like, I didn't really like the first season, like, so this one's like pretty like better, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Season 1 is very much, you can tell it's just a very, like, this is one storyline that we're following. It's all Percy. Whereas this time around, they just they were able to like fit other people's storylines into this, and like even if it does, sort of like cut things and maybe potentially rush things from the original campaign, this is an animated show. It's like, I don't want to spend 40 episodes doing a dungeon crawl. Although now I said it out loud, maybe that would be a cool series. But anyway, I really loved it. Thought it was cool. It made me horrified of dragons. I never want to set foot in a fantasy land ever again.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Because I feel like we got a little bit maybe too comfortable with dragons. Even like Game of Thrones aside, I feel like putting dragons in fiction lately, everybody's trying to do that. Even Ridley Scott was like, they're putting dragons in everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like we forgot to be afraid of dragons.
Because even look at the dragons in Game of Thrones. They all died like chumps.
Well, not Drogon. Drogon didn't die like a chump.
Didn't he survive?
Yeah. Drogon survived.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, but the other two...
He's not a chump because he survived.
Yeah.
And he was the wisest character in all the show because he realized the true enemy the entire time was the throne. He melted it.
Oh,
that's
God.
something like I would write, but I would notice like on the 5th draft how total bull crap that is. I'm like, all right, this is a bit on the nose.
Bro, I wouldn't have let you get to draft 5.
Thank you.
I would have seen draft 1 and been like, no, this is stupid.
Yeah,
We're
you would have
not
taken
doing
me
that.
out back and shot me when I revealed that Arya doesn't kill Cersei.
Yeah, yeah,
Instead, she somehow kills the Night King. I'm like, oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure.
Just take
Just
me
double
out back
gauge.
and send me off to the farm with Old Yeller.
Be like, all right, Matt, go to
But we're
that
not
far
here to talk
post.
about Game of Thrones because we could talk about that for hours. Um, but yeah, dude. So that's been my problem. I've mentioned it here and there that I don't like big things like monsters, you know?
Oh
Godzilla
yeah,
is cool because he looks cool and also a little cheesy, you know? That's why I like Godzilla and Mothra and all that stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
But everything else, like, I'm just not a fan of. Like, I know you love Pacific Rim and I love Gypsy Danger, but like that's not really my thing. The giant monsters, giant robots, the Cloverfield alien. I'm like, dragons in general. And to me, I guess it's always like, how could they? I don't know. Like you could see them coming from far away. That's part of it, you know. And also, like, if you're so small, like, couldn't you like? It seems easier to hide from something that big. All of that, all of these opinions are wrong. I will admit to now. But even Game of Thrones, the Hobbit stories, I've just like dragons. Overplayed, overdone. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then season 2 of Legends of Vox Machina. Not even season 1 because that dragon as well. Okay, they killed him pretty. I won't say easily, but they did get lucky.
Hmm.
And he went down like a chump. In the words of Limp Bizkit, like a chump.
Wow.
But season 2, dude, like it puts the fear back in dragons. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. Now what's really interesting is gonna be seeing what the dragons are like in the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, man, if it doesn't make me feel that fear. Because, I mean, look, in the trailer, you have the guy jumping with the sword, like on top of the dragon. I'm like,
Hmm.
no, man, you did. You did.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't, in the context of the movie, I don't think so. But Vox
Hmm.
Machina, you'd be dead,
Yeah.
you know? And I just love that feeling of having that that fear and that villain. It reminds me of the creatures I do like xenomorphs and predator. They're smaller and there's something about that that's more terrifying to me because
Hmm.
they can hide. They can sneak up on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somehow they made that fear translate to these four chromatic dragons.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, dude. And okay, I love watching the reaction videos. So everyone's like, oh, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, I think they're just gonna lay down the law. They're gonna say, hey, you have to do this, blah, blah, blah. Everyone is surprised when they're actually attacking.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, and it's brutal. This is not a kid's cartoon, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like fascinating, to sort of see, you know, people's response to this series who aren't fans of Critical
Oh,
Role,
I
or
love it. I love it. Yeah.
who've like never seen the show, and you just kind of vaguely know, like, oh yeah, it's based on like a D&D game maybe,
Hmm.
and then yeah,
Yeah, they
they
don't know
see the
Critical
show and
Role
they're
and
like,
they
whoa.
don't really know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
really cool to see that bridge.
yeah, yeah. And then like, yeah, like seeing, like I love seeing who like everybody's favorite characters are,
Hmm.
and seeing how like maybe that's grown or changed, with in between these two seasons. uh yeah, I just think it's really cool because obviously like we're coming from it from like you've seen pretty much everything of Critical Role.
Hmm.
I'm sort of kind of sort of playing catch up, you know but yeah, like we know these people from the show, so we know them
Hmm.
as voice actors. We see them every Thursday night, and then we're just like, oh yeah, now they get to do the cartoon, they get to do the animated series. Uh yeah, so like that's a really fun thing to see. But yeah, I'd say it's doubly fun seeing people who like have none of that, and
Hmm.
they're just going in like, hey, this is just a cool cartoon, I saw a trailer for it, let's watch,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, people who play Dungeons and Dragons, it's a very diverse group. But seeing all the reactions videos and seeing all the new people finding this series and being introduced to Critical Role and Dungeons and Dragons, it's so cool, man. Like there's so many I don't know, just minorities in general who are finding a place, where their voice can be seen and heard on YouTube. And to have Vox Machina like a part of that. There's several channels I subscribe to, and it's usually two or three black guys, black girls mixed. All they do, they're like exclusively anime.
Mm,
But for some reason, Vox Machina got thrown in there. And to see them comparing it to like their favorite animes, which is interesting because the people who made Vox Machina, they're all about anime, and they're
mm-hmm.
in some of it.
Yeah.
So to see that, I'm like, yes, man, that's cool. And to see so many like the LGBTQ plus crowd just like really like finding it online, there's just so many people watching it and reacting to it. And this was the game that for a long time, the stereotype was a bunch of white guys in a basement.
Mm-hmm.
So to see it like literally flipping and being turned on its head by this, we kind of saw it with Critical Role. And we saw that with all these other streaming and the whole fifth edition renaissance that we've been in right now of Dungeons and Dragons. And now we're seeing it more with all the people who don't play Dungeons and Dragons. It's just a
Yeah.
really rad experience. It's a great show. I love it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Five
yeah.
stars, 10 out of 10. Go watch it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Other than that, you know what else I would give 5 stars, 10 out of 10? This episode of Lost. That's right. We're talking about season 4, episode 2, Confirmed Dead. Split across the island, the survivors must each figure out what to do with the 4 new arrivals. We didn't get just one new cast member, Sam. We got 4.
Yep.
And I don't know if you pay attention to the opening credits, but all of them are main cast.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Uh, so to me, that was exciting.
Hmm.
And it's been so long since I've rewatched this show. It was really cool just to meet everyone again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, I think so far up to this episode, this is one of the best Lost episodes. And I wasn't expecting that going in, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, just sitting down for another episode. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. The way we go back to flashbacks in this episode, but it's for the 4 new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, we actually see the flashback before we meet the character on the island, and
Mm-hmm.
others, it's the opposite. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, Okay, so what about you, dude? What are your thoughts after this episode?
There's just such a different feeling going into this episode. Kind of started with episode 1, where like I said, like it feels a little bit more like cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is that narratively, this thing feels like a juggernaut.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a force. Because you come in episode 2, like they are throwing out all the stops. The writers are throwing out all the stops. We're starting with like with like these 2 little like oceanography like drones just
Oh yeah,
searching.
I was like, well, there goes our CGI budget.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's just like it's wild because we're going from that, we're doing like flashbacks from characters that who we've never seen before. We're like, who are these people? And then they show up on the island. And then everything just on the island between characters feels like the writing feels so concise. The scene between Saeed and Juliet, it's like maybe a minute, and so
Mm-hmm.
much gets conveyed in that minute that's just like, we don't need anything else. It's like maybe 7 lines, and it's like, that's it. And I'm like, what, we're already on the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is they are not holding back. They're just like, nope, here we go. We're going. It feels like some of the best writing I've ever seen. Uh Not just like dialogue wise, but just like story wise too, because we're getting like they set up little elements, little things that, like, that might come into play later this episode, maybe, and then
Mm-hmm.
it does. You're like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking in particular, like Ben. Sora's all like, we gotta watch out for this guy, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
no, we're fine, And then what happens at the end? We should have been watching out for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, just
Dude, okay, so I
oof.
think part of that is one, we have 3 years of show and lore already behind us, so we can build on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yes.
Two, we have an end date.
Mm-hmm.
We know what the end game is, and we have X amount of episodes to do it. So
Yes.
none of this seasons 1 through 3 stuff. We're gonna slowly spread this out to make it more mysterious, to keep people guessing, keep them coming. It's like, no, season
Nope.
4, it's like boom, 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 boom. Like episode 1 was called The Beginning of the End, and it's literally that. You
Mm-hmm.
have, I don't know the math, but you have X amount of episodes until the series finale.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get there? You
Yeah.
know? And it's like, dude, like it feels like a whole different show. It feels more energized. It almost feels like, man, why didn't we get this sooner? You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Like, one, I don't think they could have kept it up for those first 3 seasons because they're long seasons. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I wish the storytelling was on this par back then. Not saying that it
Yeah.
wasn't bad. Like, there's definitely, like, when people think about Lost, it's usually those first few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels like they found their groove finally. They know where they're going. They're like, we
Mm-hmm.
know how we're going to tell the story our way.
Yeah. I think you're right, because yeah, you said it perfectly. Like, those first 3 seasons were so long.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way they could keep up, like this kind of energy, this kind of style, and also, yeah, like after season 1, I feel like season 2 was still like, well, let's push the boundary a little bit. Let's see what we can get, like, and that's what made season 2 sort of feel like the most like meandering
Right.
of the season so far. It's like it's really trying to find what it's trying to say, what it's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not that anything is like reactionary to season 2, but yeah, it just feels like they're still trying to find their way.
Yeah.
um but yeah, like, yeah, I do wish we had gotten some of this injected before, but again, you said it yourself, like, it's because they have the backbone of those first 3 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of were just like, all right, we got that out of our system, now we can do this. And because they have their ending, and they're
And
now actively working towards that ending.
and since they're doing that, there's no room for like the executives to like butt in. Because
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about that in season 1, how
Oh yeah.
they wanted to do certain things, like, oh no, let's wait off on that, let's hold that off, which at the
Mm-hmm.
same time is like, one, like, how dare you, like, you don't know what this story is,
Yeah.
especially in season 1, like the creators had a rough idea of what they're doing, they didn't even have the full thing, and then say, no, let's hold it off. Like, you have no idea how much story we have planned. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know how long this storyline is going to take. It's just these execs wanting to stretch it out because they can make more profit from that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in a really good place right now. Season 4 so far, I'm correct. This is my favorite season. Yeah, only 2 episodes in there, so let's see what happens. Yeah. All right, man. What do you want to talk about? I feel like there's so many little things.
I'm going to push my theory that David, Miles, Charlotte, and Frank
Daniel.
are the.
Daniel, Miles, Charlotte, and Frank.
What did I say?
David.
Oh, I said David. Yeah, okay. Daniel, Miles, Charlotte, and Frank are the Fantastic Four of this universe.
Jeez.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they even kind of play it out. You know, it's like Daniel, he's a physicist.
True.
Miles, he's hot headed.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte comes from money. And
That's a good
very
point.
very assertive. And then Frank,
He's
deep
just like the
down,
normal dude, man. He's the
normal dude.
pilot.
I'm a pilot. I drink. What do you want from me? It's like, yeah, dude.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, because I,
Wow.
obviously thinking, within terms of like Lost is secretly about the X-Men and Krakoa
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. It's just I wasn't even thinking about that, and then it just hit me like, hey, wait a second.
Hmm.
This is the Fantastic
But
Four.
yeah, let's talk about those characters, man, because like they're really introducing some wild stuff in this.
They
Like
really, yeah,
we
yeah,
don't we meet Daniel first. We don't know what's going on. Um like we still don't know anything about him,
yeah,
but we know he's a physicist, right? Or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Uh
What we know about him is very little, but it speaks a lot to his character because he's this very like meek sort
yeah.
of person, like he has to be told like, hey, don't share that info with these people, we don't know them, stuff like
Mhm.
that. And like, oh yeah, why do you have a gun? And he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I have a gun, and then like
Yeah,
starts to like
yeah.
reach for it. Like it's like he has to be told when to be assertive.
Mhm.
And yeah, like it's just very interesting. But we know from his intro that he had a visceral reaction to seeing the footage, the doctored footage
Yeah.
of the submerged oceanic plane.
Mhm.
Like he is like angry and crying and he doesn't know
He
why. And
doesn't
I'm
know why.
and then that's it. Like they
Yeah.
show the helicopter where they all fall out, and then it's like, yeah, that's it. Now we're on the island.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, so we know the least about him. That's all we know.
Yeah,
Next up is Miles, though, who apparently can
is a medium.
yeah, like he could speak with the dead. Like
Yeah,
we're straight up entering like supernatural territory with the show now. We've always
yeah,
been tiptoeing into it, but now this is like, whoa, okay, all right.
yeah, yeah.
And to
Yeah,
see it happening off island,
yes,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Which like I feel like the only one of the only other things that the show does that feels supernatural in that respect are the numbers. You know, like
Yeah, the
those
numbers, but like the
like
creepy cabin.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, like, I I would categorize this show as science fiction more than I would categorize it
Yeah.
as magical or fantasy.
Right.
You know, there are those elements in it though that like you said, the cabin mysteriously popping up everywhere, which also gets confirmed in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
That it does appear randomly in different places. Uh, the numbers specifically because it's like what like Hurley is haunted by these numbers so much
Mm-hmm.
so that he can't escape it when we get to season 2 in the hatch, and the numbers are the code
Yeah.
for the sequence. Like the crazy random happens that, but this was straight up like Miles pulled out like that what just looked like it looked like a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, is he gonna ghostbust this? Is he like pretending to be a ghostbuster? And then no, he just sits in a bed and talks, knowing that there's an entity there, and then is confirmed that there's an entity there.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mind was blown. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
This is real? This is possible in this universe? Okay, this changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's crazy because as much as yeah, you can categorize this as sci-fi for sure. So much of it isn't though, because like the whole story of John Locke, it's been
Mm-hmm.
this like spiritual battle,
Mm-hmm.
about destiny and fate and all this stuff. Which I mean, not that that can't be in science fiction,
No, you're right.
but it's definitely different But then if you look at Desmond's story, you're like, okay, this guy's straight up science fiction, you know?
Hmm.
So it's really, I don't know. And like, whatever that monster is, I don't know. You could probably think of it as a sci-fi, the
Hmm.
smoke monster, which Locke even says, "What's the smoke monster?" He's like, "What?"
Yes,
uh,
that's what I want to do, you know?
yeah, but yeah, okay. And then we meet Charlotte, who's like the redheaded Laura Croft, I guess. She's a
I
what archaeologist?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Archaeologist, obviously, posh, stuck up, money
Mm-hmm.
gets her everything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but her intro may be the most fascinating because she goes to a dig. Straight up, this dig feels like it's out of like a Spielberg picture, you know.
Yeah.
And then her and her friend go.
It's
I
in
don't think,
Tunisia, which I
yeah,
mean, like this episode is literally all over the map. You're like,
yeah,
wow, we're going to
yeah.
Tunisia.
It's
Okay.
all over the place. Yeah. And then her and her friend, I don't think we get a name for her. They go to the dig site and they see this thing, and her friend's like, "Is that a dinosaur?" It's like, "No, it's Ursa, blah, 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 blah." Ursa? Like a bear? Polar bear. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And she finds a collar underneath the bare bones, and she pulls it out and dusts it off, and it's a freaking Dharma collar with a Hydra in it.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? This goes beyond just tattooing sharks.
I don't know,
This
but she's
is
smiling.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
also when they arrive, so each one it connects to the finding of oceanic 815 under the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's watching it on TV. Miles has it on the radio as he's pulling up to the house. Charlotte, they walk up to the dig site and she pulls up a
Oh, the
newspaper
newspaper,
and it
yeah.
says that, and her friend says something like, "How many languages do you have to read it before you believe it?"
Mm-hmm.
And
And
she's like,
Charlotte says, "How many languages are there?"
"Yeah." So
Yeah,
she doesn't believe that's legit either.
yeah.
Which then takes us to our the fourth and final new addition,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Lapidus,
Mm-hmm.
who apparently was the original pilot for this plane, for 815. For whatever reason, he wasn't though. He didn't fly it.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows the pilot who we saw die in the first episode, the pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
And with the drone footage of the plane, he recognizes that the body doesn't have the wedding ring, and he's like, I forgot what the guy's name was. He's like, he would never take off his wedding band ever. So
Mm-hmm.
instantly he knows that's not the pilot.
Yeah.
That's not the plane, you know? Like,
Yeah.
oh man. So they all have a like some kind of connection to it. We haven't really found out what though. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
could kind of guess Frank. Frank like wants to know what happens, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
he
can.
gets involved later.
Yeah. I can assume that Frank is looking for the pilot,
Yeah.
looking for his friend, because he knows that
Because now he knows
yeah,
there's a cover up.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. That was kind of my theory. I was like, maybe all of these people are people that knew somebody on the plane,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, like it doesn't feel right with the way Charlotte is interacting, in her flashback, and it also just doesn't feel right for Miles and Faraday.
Mm-hmm.
Um so yeah.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on with them. Charlotte, though, seeing the Dharma logo really kind of piques my interest, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like she didn't really seem surprised to find that belt or
Mm-hmm.
that Dharma logo. So I'm like, what does she know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
All I know is that all four of these people are on this island for a reason. And they straight up say finding the survivors is not their main objective.
Yeah. And they haven't really revealed what it was yet. Well, I guess they kind of do.
Well, yeah, they do. Because like Miles gets in everybody's face showing them the picture,
Mm-hmm.
and then Benjamin Linus straight up says like one read Charlotte like a book, telling
Mm-hmm.
them everything about her, and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff, and then pretty much just drops the show. Like, yeah, her and her team are here for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, what's interesting about this though, we do see towards the end another flashback from Naomi's perspective.
yeah, we do.
So
Which I
we,
think is the first time in Lost history we've gotten flashbacks from a corpse.
yeah, essentially, but she's
Yeah,
talking with
Lance
our
Reddick,
boy Lance Reddick, Matthew
Thordak
Abaddon.
himself.
Yeah, Matthew Abaddon.
Uh-huh.
And so essentially they're recruiting these four: Daniel, Miles, Charlotte, and Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi's job is to get them onto the island and off safely without anyone getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we know. But when she says, "What happens if there are survivors of 815?" And he says, "There are no survivors of Flight 815. But what if there are? There are no survivors of 815." It's like, oh,
Yep.
jeez. Okay, what the hell's going on? Who's this guy working for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a thing because I mean, Frank straight up calls the Oceanic line,
Mm-hmm.
that which is the number that they're showing across like the TV segment. He straight up calls them and then gets directed to a supervisor who kind of feels like is in on whatever this is,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a real quick transfer and he's like, how do you know this isn't, real? How do you know that isn't the pilot?
Mm-hmm.
Uh so I feel like and what's his name? Matthew Abaddon said that he works for Oceanic. So
Mm-hmm.
either Oceanic is really a part of this, or they're it's like a dummy thing. It's a front,
Yeah.
for whoever is really in control here. Control, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't
God, what
know.
a
So here's
what
the
a
thing
killer
though, too.
episode, man.
So here's the thing. They're there because of Ben. They were sent to get Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you send a physicist, a medium, an archaeologist, and a pilot? You could have hired any pilot, you
Yeah.
know? That's the curious thing. Like there's still a lot we don't know. What is the primary objective?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it just getting Ben off the island?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need these four?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is what Naomi, says. Like
Mm-hmm.
Naomi tells Abaddon that, like this isn't the team. This isn't the team to
Mm-hmm.
do this. And he's like, nope, these are the people that need to go on the island. So yeah, I don't know. I agree. Obviously, we'll find out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what a great introduction to all these new people,
Dude, I
and new
know.
storylines,
That's kind of one of the exciting parts of Lost. Each season, you're getting new cast members. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know how long they're going to be on the show because this show has a high death rate.
Yep.
And I don't know, it kind of feels like the new class, the new kids, just fresh blood. It brings a new energy into the series. So to have four new faces on the island, I'm like, okay, all right, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. There's a lot more we can go in depth in this episode, but it's just kind of nitpicking and like talking about all the little moments and like, oh man,
Yeah.
like we have no answers yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have no answers. I'm so curious as to how, one, I'm curious how all this plays out, and then I want to know how this like affects, the people who get off the island, the Oceanic Six. You
Yeah.
know, these feel like the yeah, the beginning of the end times is right, because yeah, it just feels like with their arrival, feels like things are now being set into motion that can't be stopped.
Mm-hmm. They have a
Ben is
helicopter.
They have a helicopter, which is wild. A helicopter that will take them to the freighter. They have a freighter. Ben looks like horrified. Like he's
Yeah.
very worried about how any of this is going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
like
Juliet said it best. When Saeed asked, why would Ben say these people are here to kill us? She says, because Ben will do anything and say anything to keep us here.
mm-hmm,
Or because he knows these people are actually coming to kill us.
mm-hmm,
I was like, that's the thing with Benjamin Linus. Like, it's hard to decipher when he's lying and when he's exaggerating and when he's telling the truth. Like,
yeah,
you just don't know.
yeah,
Yeah. The fact that he tried to kill Charlotte in this episode, he shot her twice. Just what, maybe a day after Locke murders Naomi? I'm like,
mm-hmm,
oh, dude, like those two have a lot in common.
mm-hmm. Match made in weird
Mm-hmm.
psycho heaven.
Oh, and did
Yeah,
we mention it last episode how Jack was going to straight up murder Locke?
yeah,
Yeah, we mentioned that, right? And we're like,
mm-hmm,
oh, dude, like the things, it doesn't matter what party Hurley went with. It seems like things are going bad. Like things are fraying. It's like this, it looks like the end, like
yeah.
we survived 91 days, 92 now. Like, I don't know. It looks like it's all coming to an end. Any other predictions?
Oh man, I
It's
don't
like
know.
anyone's game at this point, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, Desmond was absent from this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, which like is fine. Like we're
They
getting so
must not
many new
have had a
people.
gun for him.
I guess so. Uh, yeah, I
He's
mean he
kicking it with
probably
Rosa Bernard.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. And I guess Sun and Jin, did they stay with?
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah. The only ones who went from the beach was Juliet and Saeed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I got like I don't know. Like we're in a very precarious, situation here because it's like the story can go anywhere at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they've introduced so many new things that it's like, who knows who knows what it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, man. I don't know.
I love the energy, man. I love when like they find Miles and he just pulls the gun. He's like, "They killed Naomi. I know it." And I'm just like, dude, like, do you have any idea where you're at? Like, you
Yeah.
need to start acting rationally fast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, something's gonna kill you. Statistically, it might be one of the survivors, actually. But something's gonna kill you. But at the same time, I'm like, guys, chill out. These new people obviously know more about this island than they're letting on. And it's
Mm-hmm.
probably things that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like find out.
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah.
stay friends. We all need to stay friends to get out of this alive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the thing that comes with loss. It's people
Communication.
aren't talking to each other. People jump to conclusions,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess, it's true of all life,
That's the
but
theme of Lost, dude. Nobody communicates,
uh-huh.
and it's always because their
Their
parents
dad.
screwed them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not just dads; it's the moms too.
No, yeah, I guess that's true.
Everyone is screwed up by the parents in this show.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess is true of life.
I guess we're gonna have to see what happens to baby Aaron.
Oof. Yeah.
What about MVPs? This is kind of tough.
Oh God. Yeah. I I don't know.
Everyone is really good.
Yeah, like I kind of just want to do like an ensemble because like everybody's given such a great performance because like one, our tried and true, our regular cast members, they're bringing it this episode, and it's never a question, I just feel like Locke is Locke, Sawyer is Sawyer, Ben is Ben, like everybody is just like
Yeah.
filling those roles. Even like even like the small touches, like Jack and Kate this episode, where like Kate's really trying to get the gun off of Daniel, and Jack's just like, Kate, don't worry about it, it's fine. He like gives that like half wink,
Mm-hmm.
half wink, and then and then the cavalry shows up, Saeed and Juliet with guns,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's like, yeah, okay, like this, yeah, this is something that Kate would do, and at this point, yeah, like Jack's finally trying to getting it together, figuring it out, like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
sure, it's a small moment, but yeah, yeah, and then yeah, on top of that, you have our fantastic new characters who just thrown in here and already feel, the not like seamless, but they're already establishing themselves as a presence, and like you
Yeah.
said, like I didn't catch it, but all four of these are part of the main cast credits now, so
Yeah.
they're going to be here for a bit. This is how
Mm-hmm.
important these people are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say just ensemble.
Yeah. All right. It's a good call. Ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah.
This feels
Well,
this feels nice.
like well, like how so? Like it's just
Well, like one, it's nice to be back in Lost. I
yeah.
know
It feels
we
good.
said that last episode, but yeah, just it feels nice to be back with these characters, back in this world, back in the, oh, what's gonna happen? Where is this gonna go? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not even really caring like mythology wise, like how everything's gonna play out. Like Smoke Monster, it's a thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Will we find out what the big statue, three-toed statue is? Nah, who knows? I don't care.
Yeah.
It's more just like it's the journey. I'm back in the journey. I'm excited to be on this journey. Uh yeah, I'm having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. That's the thing too. Like it's fun.
Hmm.
Lost has always been fun, but that can be strained here and there, like we said, when it slows down, when they're trying to build mystery. And like
Hmm.
right now, it's just fun. Like things are firing on all cylinders. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. So we'll see what happens next week when we talk about season 4, episode 3, The Economist.
Ooh.
Now that Locke's group has taken a hostage, the only chance the survivors have of getting off the island lies in Saeed and his negotiation skills.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you thought. Hit us up at hashtag Lost Legacies on the socials. And I'm on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Real, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
All right, guys. Until next time, get lost.
Get lost.